Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Jace again, and today's video is gonna be a continuation of last week's video. If you haven't already caught it, please do make sure you check it out. It is, once again, criteria that I look for and keep in mind when I am looking at sneakers to potentially invest in, and whether or not I think that it is gonna be a good decision. And today, to build on that, I'm going to be diving a little bit deeper into some of the more financial concepts, which I will get into a little later on. But as always, if you find this content informative and helpful, please do make sure that you destroy that like button and subscribe. It really does help me out. I spend a lot of time putting these videos together for you guys, and the whole goal is to help with financial literacy, help you make choices for yourself, decide and think for yourself, and all of that. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So like I said last week, right, the whole reason why I came up with this list of criteria that I usually look for is to help me make more informed decisions when I am prospecting different sneakers or other investments to get into. And the reason for that is, especially for sneakers are pretty expensive to get into, and if you're not careful at managing your money, it can get very costly later on, which is why I always push research. You definitely have to understand what you're getting yourself into before you spend your hard-earned money. So then what we're basically talking about is capital, right? So capital is basically the asset you need in order to provide your goods and services. So for example, if you wanted to become a sneaker reseller, you need to have the asset, which is money, in order to provide the goods or to attain the goods, which is getting the sneakers to sell to people. Diving a little deeper into capital, when you are looking to purchase your goods, which is going to be sneakers, you need to look at the cost basis, which is really just your initial investment. And that usually includes taxes that you pay on it, county taxes, fees, shipping, whatever. It's basically initial all-in cost for the sneaker. So for example, one of my recent pickups is going to be the University Blue 4s, and these retail for $200, but I did have to pay taxes and everything on them at the store, and I did pick them up. So my initial cost basis was something like $218. And something really important to keep in mind with all these additional fees and taxes is it really does vary state by state and even shop to shop, depending on what county it's in. So for example, if you get something from, like, let's say Undefeated in LA, you have to pay county LA tax, and there's a bunch of other fees associated with it. So in general, you're gonna probably pay a little bit more money going to that store than if you were to win a pair somewhere else. But as I already said, getting these sneakers to sell can generally be quite hard. So you can't always really decide, if ever, decide where you're gonna win your pair of sneakers from. So it's just something to keep in mind. And the reason why you want to keep in mind what your cost basis is, because when you are looking for something to invest in, what are you really mainly looking to do? You're looking to make some money, right? You're looking to make some money so you can either reinvest that, or you could take that and buy the shoes that you want, like I always say. And you have to know two things before you can arrive at that number. Like I said, you need to know how much you spent on this, your product. So in this example, I said the cost of this all in was going to be roughly $220 with tax and fees. And I like to cross-check different platforms to figure out what the fair market value is. And at the moment, this sneaker going on StockX, eBay, Facebook forums, etc. is roughly around $350 to $360. So from that, I know that I am basically going to do some simple math here for the net profit margins, which is going to be revenue minus cost divided by revenue times 100, and that'll give you the percent net margin that you're going to get. Essentially, if this sneaker is $218, or let's say $220, and it's going for $360, I sell it for $360 and subtract $220 from it, and I end up getting $140 net profit. In this case, it's pretty amazing actually. It's almost at 39% net profit margin. That means you are making a 39% profit off of buying the shoe for retail and selling it back out for what it's currently worth, fair market value. And to put that in comparison, if you do, let's say, mutual funds or ETFs, you're looking at somewhere between 8 to 10% year over year. And this isn't like super accurate of a comparison. And the second thing to keep in mind that I always say is that when I talk about investing in sneakers, I use that phrase very loosely because there is no inherent continuous value to these sneakers. They are purely demand generated. So it is very important for you to be a little bit careful and do your research, more so than a lot of other investments, because the pricing can be very fickle. So at this point, you're probably saying, Jace, wow, like I'd love to make, 39% profit. That sounds like a lot of money. But there's just one thing though. I don't have that much capital to get started with. So, which sneaker should I go after, right? You mentioned that it's so hard to get to decide which ones are worth the money. So to that, I say congratulations. You have essentially figured out the meaning of opportunity cost, which is the potential gain or loss of you choosing one alternative over another. And I'll give you a real world example of this. For sneakers, you need to consider three things: your time, effort, and the amount of money that you have. So starting with the first one, time and effort, those kind of go together. When you're going for these sneakers, more often than not, the limited sneakers, you're gonna have to enter raffles or go on websites and sit in a queue. And those things technically do factor into the cost of you getting this sneaker, because spending an hour sitting in a queue is definitely going to affect your chances of using that time to make money elsewhere. So that is an opportunity cost. And then the second one is going to be obviously money. So let's just say you only have $200 to spend on some shoes, right? And you have two choices, which I'll show right here. You either have a chance to grab a Dunk Low UNLV, or you have a chance to get the University Blue 4s. This one retails for $200, this one retails for $100. Now on the secondary market, fair market value for this sneaker right now is $220. So you're looking at a price difference of $120, whereas this one is $140. However, this sneaker costs twice as much as this. So which one is gonna give you a better net profit margin? This one, right? So this is gonna be probably the one that you wanna go with, because if you get this one, all your money is going to be tied up. You only have $200, right? So you might not even be able to get this with all the taxes and everything said and done. So you need to definitely, like I said, consider which sneakers are going to make you the most amount of money. And as always, I want to put this disclaimer out there that I know that you can't just freely choose which sneakers you want to go for, but it's just something to keep in mind so that you're not blindly entering raffles and trying to buy every sneaker out there, because that is not a great use of your time, money, and resources. And on the topic of managing your time, money, and effort, you also may want to factor in things like gas and commuting time, which I will get more into in another video. But all of those things you can definitely factor in, and they do have an effect on your bottom line at some point or another. And the last concept that I want to touch on today, that I'm sure you're all very aware of at this point, is going to be FOMO, or the fear of missing out. This is very rampant in the sneaker market because almost every sneaker out there is scarce, and you're thinking to yourself like, man, I don't know if I can get this sneaker, so should I just go for that? And the next thing you know, it's a slippery slope, and you're trying to get every sneaker out there, just desperately trying to win at least one sneaker that you want, or one sneaker that you know is worth money or is worth an investment, whatever. And I just want to point out that really this isn't your fault. This is really all the big corporations, all of social media, constantly putting all of these things in your face essentially, right? Oh wow, look at this hype sneaker that's coming out. Oh wow, look at that one, it just got leaked. Next thing you know, your empty month just became like 60 sneakers that you need to go for. Very normal too, it's very normal. And this behavior is the exact reason why there's all of these successful Instagram pages that have actually gained traction and built a huge following. It's like, oh, is it worth copying? Should I buy this? Should I buy that? All these resale prediction pages. Like I said, I keep driving this home. The whole point of me doing these financial videos is I want you to think like an investor and get in the mindset of thinking for yourself. Is this really a great decision? Should I actually invest in a sneaker? I don't want you guys my viewers to completely depend on these pages to tell you what's up. You know, when I look at sneakers, like, I have my own system, and like I said, I'm already disclosing some of it in my first video, and I'm gonna talk more about it going forward. But you want to just think for yourself and realize that all of these people that are posting this stuff, they're just guessing, and their guess may be a little more informed than yours, but it's very easy for you to get into this as well, which is what I am telling you all today. But anyways, I'm gonna digress off of that. But I will say, one of the biggest issues with FOMO is this concept of hindsight 2020, where you essentially look back and you have perfect clarity of the situation and what you should have done. And it's a very toxic way to be an investor, really, because it really does affect your decision making, and in the future could really definitely create a lot of hesitation in what you do, depending on how you learn from your past mistakes, for example. So luckily, sneakers is a little easier to get into for those things, because sneakers are a little more predictable in terms of the way that they're priced, because there's always rumors about how much stock there's gonna be, and you can already tell just from hype and everything else alone generally how popular and how much stock is available gonna be. And I talked about this in my first video, which was going to be the supply to demand ratio. And diving a little deeper into availability issues with sneakers is that it's all artificial limitations and artificial scarcity that are built into the actual business model of these products. So you already know that at some point these sneakers will come back out, and your investment is going to be protected for at least a good amount of time. If you look at some of the past sneakers, they didn't get retroed or redone for 15 plus years. So with all those points covered about FOMO now, the last thing I want to give to you as a piece of advice also is that a good way to deal with FOMO is for you to do the math. Like I said, do the research, figure out your net profit margin for a sneaker, and really think to yourself, is it really worth it for me to go after this sneaker? I'm only gonna make lunch money, or like, you know, basically like what, 20 bucks, and you gotta spend all this time to do it. Is it really worth it to you? Probably not, right? Not for 20 bucks. You know, you're gonna have to sit in the queue or whatever. But if it's off of, let's say, Nike sneakers, and it's just a draw that you spend 2 minutes to enter, well, you made 20 bucks in 2 minutes. Easy enough, right? So those are just some things that you need to keep in mind. And as I said already, you shouldn't feel left out if you don't get a certain sneaker. Not every sneaker is worth the same amount of money, and not every sneaker is worth your hard-earned time and money. So that's FOMO. So yes, today I gave a lot of tips and advice that requires you to do some homework. But as I said, if you want to become successful at investing or build great habits and really be a prudent investor, which is something that is really important, is you got to be diligent, and you have to do your research, and try your best to understand how the market works and what factors influence the market, what factors don't influence the market. And all of those things are going to be things that can help you make better informed decisions. And as I said in my first video, investing in sneakers is really only one of my streams of income, and it can be really great if you do pay attention to what's going on and really do your research. I keep saying it, do your damn research. If you found this video helpful, please destroy that like button and subscribe. I have way more videos planned coming forward to help you all make more money for 2021, 2022, and also, more importantly than that, to give you the tools to start thinking like an investor and to become a much savvier, prudent, and knowledgeable person in the world of finance, because that is really going to help you grow and achieve the things that you didn't think were possible. But anyways, make sure that you support your local businesses. It's been super chill doing this video. It's Jace. Stay laced. Peace.